All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Saturday live show, and welcome to your bull market. We survived the drop the other day and held the low, and off we go. So looking pretty good. Kind of following up on what we were talking about in the newsletter towards the latter part of the week, hoping that this low holds. High volume, it should hold. It did hold, and we did start to creep up and move up into another leg up, starting this little uptrend. Volume aggregation tool looks really good. We get the RSI kind of elevated levels. We never did wear much of the RSI off on the daily time frame. Not the end of the world though, as happily, just kind of heading higher here. Moving above this high here at about the 21.5, give or take, is an excellent showing, and good volume on the follow through on the way up on the breakout. Need a little bit more, but you see the volume aggregation tool, the buyers have already kind of started weaning themselves off. Hey, what's up, Marlon? How you doing? Buyers here have already kind of started weaning themselves off of Bitcoin a little bit. We'll see if we get some continuation over the weekend. Last week, things also moved on a weekend, mainly Friday. So last Friday was the 13th. So yeah, right here, very late in the day is when the market really started getting going. We popped up, then we based for almost a whole week. So that's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday again. We get a late pop up. So is this the high for the whole week? We shall see. It's going to be interesting. BTC is leading this market. Going through the BTC pairs today, there's really not a lot of action over in the pairs versus Bitcoin. Not at least right now. One thing I'm going to look at later is the dynamic between alts and Bitcoin during these cycles. Because for those of you guys new to the channel, new to the show, if you are or not, there are cycles, and things move in. I don't want to say predetermined behaviors because they're not predetermined, but it's kind of like traffic. If you're good at navigating traffic, you can figure out by looking ahead a little bit what's one lane going to do versus another lane. And I know in Arizona, I drive in some morning traffic, and so I like to take right lane for as much as I can. The left lane, everyone thinks the left lane is fastest, so they jump in the left lane, and then it's clogged. So the middle lane always sucks to be in because people are using that, but you have to know kind of what lane to be in. And right now it's Bitcoin, and so the question is, how does that dynamic play out over time and during certain market cycles? Because we're in a unique market cycle. We touched on this the past couple of weeks, where it looks like we were going to be curling up. We did, and then we were up last week, and now we're continuing this week. So it's a unique cycle. I mentioned last time, I don't necessarily think we're going to be as bullish as we were over here in 2019, but I hope we are. I hope we are. A couple things not the same. Obviously, we didn't have as much volume in this pop up. We didn't have a full blown cup and handle. There's definitely some things that are different, that are shorter term about what we're going through right now. So I don't expect this to, so here's the breakout. I don't expect it to go up 230 whatever percent. I don't expect a 230% move. We may. So we had a 6K here, which we just blew through. I'm not sure if we even have a 6K level other than the 30K level. I think we get to the 30K, but we'll see what happens and what we look like when we get up to the 30K level here. I guess 29K, and we'll see what happens then. But our volume's pretty good. It's definitely been better. Hold on a second, my kid's here. What's up, Beavers? I don't know. Didn't you take it back? I'll look for it after the show. If I don't, it's somewhere around here. But yeah, you gotta take care of that soon, man. That money. Don't let it sit. I think your mom did. Ask your mom. Ask your mom. Okay. So let's go to the index, look at the volume a little bit more. So okay, so there we go. There's the pop up from the cup and handle in 2019. Here's our current volume. We're not that far off, but here's this volume on the drop, which is akin to the volume on this drop. And there's definitely less time between those two volume peaks. 136 bars there and 60 bars here. So obviously I'm not going to be exact on those, but it wasn't even going to be close. So we didn't have quite as much of a horizontal between the volume peak and the subsequent breakout. So it's very likely that this, I don't want to say dies prematurely, but dies prematurely. I guess I did want to say it. So this trend line could be important though coming up. Yeah, so we kind of had this trend line. This was broken early. So this is broken all the way up. And so that's probably another reason why this was so powerful is this is a 2017 high. We broke that already on the breakout. We didn't have to wait. This trend line, we're kind of moving up to it. So it's a slightly different scenario. Slightly different scenario. And we'll see how it plays out because moving up into resistance in this fashion versus blasting through resistance in this fashion are two completely different dynamics. And as you can imagine, this one had a lot more momentum to it. So this one getting up to 30K, if it does that, popping up to 30K. And then we'll see what happens. Do we form, some type of a triangle? Do we come up here and then form a cup and then handle out? Do we form a double bottom base, which is another classic chart pattern, kind of via IBD stuff? Though those would be very classical things to do. I don't know if we do an inverted head and shoulders here. We'd have to start making the left shoulder at some point. So hard to argue something like that. But those would be some types of continuation patterns. This one, we didn't really have any continuation patterns. We just continued. And so if you weren't really in tune with things, you kind of got left behind. And similar situation right now. If you weren't really in tune, it's hard to buy a little bit higher in these environments because your stop loss is wider. It's even hard to add. I actually cut my position size just a little bit, not a ton, but just a little bit. And then it broke out and I had a hard time jumping back in. So I'm sitting with that cash waiting for another opportunity. But, things are still moving. So I'm just going to sit with the cash. I'm not trying to jump in and lose some of those gains I've got. I'll keep those. That's how you win in this thing. So we're doing pretty good. There's really nothing bad here. Good breakout. We talked all last week about a shakeout in the markets. We did get it on the 18th. Was that Wednesday or Thursday? Whenever that was. Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday was the 18th. So we got the shakeout on the Wednesday. That was about it. If your stops were in appropriate places, like we discussed, then you weren't really hurt too bad. If you got shaken out, you would have had to get back in with an appropriate. And we did talk about this, I think, on Thursday about stop losses being underneath that low, that defined low. So even after the shakeout, those are very useful. Some people view them as scary, and they definitely can be scary if you don't have a large profit position. But they're great information points because once you come down, bam, slap on a level, that level should hold. And so this level held. Now this level held. Now we have another interim kind of a higher low here, and that should hold, but we're far away from stop losses on that one. This one should hold at least for a while. This is a pretty new move up, so it may get tested at some point. It's also not as vertical as these other ones are. But in 17K, even at 40K, people will be calling a trap. Yeah. Yeah, you just ignore people, Loopy. I mean, after a while, see, here's the thing. Once you've been in the markets a while, you realize most people are idiots, especially the loud ones. Most of them are, hey, what's up, Omar? Netherlands, huh? That's pretty cool. Greetings from Arizona. Well, yeah, once you're in this a while, you realize most people say things to either confirm their own biases or it's kind of like, so I have an 8-year-old and I have a 12-year-old now. He turned 12 11 days ago. And my 12-year-old kind of has stopped saying he knows everything, where my 8-year-old still does. And that's just part of growing up, right? You learn something, you think it's great, and you want to tell everybody about it. You parrot it. And that's all these people are doing. They're just simply parroting things. That's all they're parroting things that other people are saying or false notions that they're coming to the conclusions of. And even on Reddit this morning, someone said something about, oh, why is this moving? Blah, blah, blah. We got all this backdrop. And I commented, hey, if you're worried about the why, you're in the wrong business. You never get to know the why. You just get to suffer the consequences, good or bad. There can be good consequences. It's usually used in a bad connotation, but consequence of buying a lottery ticket could be winning the lottery. So there you go. But yeah, you just have to go by your rules, and this is a skill set. This is not luck. I mean, there can be some luck involved, as with anything. I mean, you could luck out and find a job that makes $200,000 a year working at front counter at McDonald's. Doesn't mean, you did that by skill. It was simply luck. It's just like a lot of people lucked out buying Dogecoin for no apparent reason. So all parallels. All parallels. Never question Bitcoin, just accept. Yeah, basically. It's basically 100% right. Our Aave alert just triggered. What do I have on Aave? Okay, so yeah, this is one that looks like got erased with my trading view charts 2 weeks ago now. That sucks. So we probably had an alert. Yeah, yeah, actually at the right price, right about here probably off of this breakout. We probably threw an alert at some point, and it got triggered. So this Aave alert got triggered. We do have alerts. If you guys are not in the Power Hour, we have alerts for all the levels we talk about, which can be definitely used as entry points. And we done a really good job, I got to say, this time around in terms of everything. Pretty much spot on though. Pretty much spot on. I mean, yeah, good stuff. It's been a good little bull run here. And my Bitcoin entries are right around here, just over this prior high, wherever it is, like right around there. So not too bad. Just kind of, staying with the markets and stuff. Okay, so Bitcoin's doing good up here. I would like to find a place to add some Bitcoin because it is our leader. And I was thinking that this morning. It's like, if we do get another pullback, I'm going to add. I may take that extra cash. If I can't find in another position for it, I'll just add to Bitcoin because it is leading. I mentioned earlier, going through the BTC charts, there really weren't too many good alt charts versus Bitcoin. It's pretty much a Bitcoin-led market at this stage of the game. All right, so Bitcoin's doing really good. Not much negative to say here. Just go with the market. We are going up, and that's it. If you're questioning it, why? It's happening in front of your eyes. So just stay with it if you got positions. I was talking with Ted earlier in the Slack chat, and he was talking about, what did he say? And then I'll tell you what I said in response to him. Yeah, here we go. It says, I'll take what I can get. If it does reverse, so even then it's going to be a long time coming back. In which case I can put the cash to good use, I guess. Unless I'm able to catch the reversal on Bitcoin effectively. And I said, just keep lifting stops. So, very, very simple 4 words. Just keep lifting stops. That's all you got to do. So let's say you bought down here. Let's say you bought down here, right here. And then, and we talked about this on the way. We could go into a 2019 scenario, which we are in the middle of. So we've been accurate in that analysis. And so we keep lifting up here. Just keep lifting your stops. Every time you break out into a new level, into a new realm of possibility, move your stop. So here's a horizontal, right? So this is a little lesson on lifting stops. So here's a horizontal. It gets tested several times. You come back up to it. After some time, we go back up. You buy a breakout. And then you move up. And then once you blast off here, you can lift your stop. I mean, you can give it a very wide berth if you want. Let's say you buy on the breakout. You move up. And then it keeps going. And then, so here you have, here's a prior high. Once we break that, if you want to, you can move this stop up to this low. Just keep lifting that stop. And there's alternative ways to do this as well. My Pi method is one of them. We do that one during the power hour as well. And, but yeah, just keep lifting stop. So here you have another blast off, another takeoff, and then you come up to this low. You can use this. These lows in very strong markets usually never get undercut. If you want to give it a little more room, though, I understand. Say you want to drop it down a couple of percent, just in case of a shakeout, because what'll happen sometimes they'll shake it out and boom, hit those stops, and then come right back. So if you're this profitable by this point, let's say you did buy right there. If you're up, 18%, or if you're leveraged, that's obviously going to be more. Then yeah, you obviously have a lot of options in terms of how much room you can give this, so you're not stopped out. Now in this case, it didn't do too much, but let's go by what we just talked about with raising stops. And notice I said every time it breaks a new level, raise the stop. So let's say you move your stop right here under the low. So did we break this level on any of these highs? Not really. We had that was a swing failure there, swing failure there, swing failure there. swing failure there. So you're not moving, you don't have this stop here at this point, so you can get taken out. Because that's what this is doing, is taking out the stops underneath these levels. We didn't take it out yet. So now that we have taken it out, you can move up that stop. And I would probably put it under the second low, which gives you a little bit of an edge over this first low. Either one's fine, you know. So right now there's really no great stop to have. If you really want to be aggressive, you could try to move it, you know, up to one of these red candles. Usually the first red candle after breakout can be some type of a support, because it dropped down, got supported, then popped back up. So that is a form of support. The question is kind of a bit of a wisdom in knowing, you know, what in these situations, what stop to use. Like if you have this lower, I wouldn't move this stop up too far. You could probably move it there, the 21.4, which actually happens to coincide kind of with these highs over here. And you'll find that often good levels are often repeated. So, but we're doing pretty good here. So really nothing bad. Everything's looking good. It's hard to buy now because again your stop's about 7.5% lower, which is still a manageable stop. It's just a little bit wide, I think, for where we're at. But all right, let's move on. Next up is Ethereum. And Ethereum lagging behind Bitcoin, and this is something I did want to dig into. So let's look at Ethereum on itself for now. Then we'll kind of dig into this dynamic actually between Ethereum and Bitcoin and the alts in Bitcoin. So here we popped over the 1602. Volume wasn't great. It was good volume. It wasn't great volume. The VA tool didn't jump up into new highs, but we are up. So you kind of have to give credit where credit's due. So this dynamic between Bitcoin and ETH is very interesting. So ETH had a day here. This was Friday as well. It didn't really participate as much today. So it's lagging. Ethereum is lagging Bitcoin. So something that I would like to do. Let's go to the Bitcoin chart. Let's use the index chart. I do want to add ETH on here and go back to our, see if we can get an index on this one too. I think they have one. ETH USD index. Here we go. Bam. TradingView index. Perfect. So we're going to add TradingView index versus TradingView index, which is fine. Okay, so here's this dynamic between ETH and Bitcoin back during this time. Let's take it from the breakout. So if you guys can't see it, there's the drop. Here's the cup. Here's the handle. There's that big breakout with that big volume. Okay, so let's flatten it out here on the breakout day. And look at this dynamic. Of course, it anchors it on the right side of the chart. And when I go the other way, anchors it on the left side of the chart. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, perfect. So this is the time frame we're actually interested in. This is the breakout from 4,200. And this is where Bitcoin put in its topping candles. Notice who led the entire time. It was Bitcoin the entire time. Bitcoin led the entire time. So, you know, having large ETH positions, while you will get a benefit, you know, Bitcoin rose 240%, ETH got a maximum of 137%. So it's kind of important to understand these dynamics and what they do and not why they do them, because that's impossible to understand. You can infer, but... So if you got ETH now, I mean, it's going to participate, but it's not going to do what Bitcoin's doing. And we could probably add, maybe Cardano? I know Cardano doesn't have a index chart. Okay, so there's Cardano, which Cardano is an interesting coin. Obviously, it didn't do much during this entire time, but back then in let's go check CoinMarketCap. That's a good thing to do, Randy. Look at you thinking. We can use their look back, I think it's called, or whatever it's called, to look back. Fancy stuff over here. They're always changing it. I never know where it is. Global charts. Historical snapshots. There we go. We can go back to, and I already forgot what we were doing. April 3rd, 2019. April 3rd, 2019. And we can look at what the market cap leaders were at this time. So obviously Ethereum And we can look at the 7-day percentage too. That'll give us a little bit of an idea. Bitcoin Cash was big, 89%. And actually, in these days, Bitcoin Cash moved more than Bitcoin did. Usually triple, and there you go, triple. It's an interesting dynamic, really interesting. And actually, I think during this time, Bitcoin Cash did better than Bitcoin. I do not remember though. That's complete. BCH. Let's see if they still have. Okay, they do. Ah, shoot. What happened? It 27. It came out in 2017. Maybe Binance didn't have it. I don't like that. Let's do. Interesting. Let's do. Did KuCoin have it? No. It's Coinbase. They don't do Tether, so there's Coinbase. There we go. Okay. So here's Bitcoin Cash's dynamic. Started out really good, and then kind of led it actually for the most part here, huh? Led it for the most part. Not as healthy here, but you have a nice declining trend line. Bam, once Bitcoin really starts to go here, Bitcoin Cash goes as well. But at the end, Bitcoin did better, but really on the last day. And Bitcoin Cash could have had a big spike like that too. This is the line chart, so it's not as precise. But you can catch my drift. Is during this time, most things underperform Bitcoin for the most part. Bitcoin Cash. We can take a look at XRP, which this time around isn't doing too much. And we can also take a look at Coinstamp, Coinbase. Where is... I guess we'll try Bitstamp. Ah, darn it. Same percentage scale. There we go. Underperformed Bitcoin. So we do have times where Bitcoin just murders everything. And this time around is a little bit different because that's already been, I don't want to say debunked, but Solana right now has a big edge on Bitcoin in terms of percentages. If we go back to this low, all the way up here, we're at 36%. If you go to Solana, it's much, much more than that. It's 100 plus 125%, but it's losing some momentum right now. So maybe Bitcoin will try to start overtaking it. This is when we first alerted on Solana at $10. So even then, I guess it's still 150%. So yeah, not too bad from Solana, kind of our leader. So there's the dynamic. The dynamic is that Bitcoin's leading, and if all you're doing is trading Bitcoin, you're probably gonna be in one of the most leading coins in this market. Last week, someone came up here, decided to LOL on me for saying something very common sense, which kind of pissed me off. Anyway, I talked about, being in the top 20 coins versus trying to find some altcoin, one of the random millions of altcoins that's floating around here, 22,000 cryptos, trying to find the one out of the top 20 that's going to move when Bitcoin is going to give you, really, really good performance. And, Solana may continue as well. And we'll see with some of the other ones. Things are looking pretty good overall. This month looks like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin around plus 40%. Bitcoin Cash is up. Yeah. Yeah, it's not in the top 20. I really don't harp on it anymore. It's just so hard to... Yeah, I don't care about Bitcoin Cash. I really don't. It doesn't matter. The market's given its verdict. And so this is current. So there's Bitcoin at number 1. And let's see where Bitcoin Cash is. Number 26. It's a bold-faced copy of Bitcoin, kind of like Monero is, although there's a little bit of difference. Yeah, it had its moment, and it's over. So who cares? It's a little bit like celebrating the 26th place victory in the 1984 Winter Olympics or whatever. All you get is a dude. That's freaking awesome to go to the Olympics, huh? Yeah, that was a great time. It really was. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then you start eating your fries again. That's about all. But if Bitcoin came to your table, you'd be standing up and shaking his hand and saying, "Oh, you're the man." Anyway. So that's kind of the dynamic, I think, between BTC and alts right now. Is that Bitcoin is really just head and shoulders above everything else. And it's just kind of the dynamic that we're in. It's not necessarily a bad thing. So, all right. So that's Bitcoin. Let me check on my timestamps. We talked about Ethereum for a little bit. Let's circle back to Ethereum. Because I kind of jumped off in the middle of it, I think. ETH's probably going to do okay. As you saw during that look back time, it's not going to do as good as Bitcoin. I've got some Ethereum. I've just got it, in a leveraged position. And it's just going to sit there until the whole trend is over. It's just going to, that's it. I'm going to get what I'm going to get. And I'm not going to, get emotional about it. The least emotions you have with these things, the better. What's up, James? I think it's next week. Yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. It would start at 11, so I'll check after the show. It's my son James, everybody. Yeah, so Ethereum, not too bad. I mean, if you want to get in, the dips would be better because your stop losses right now are a little bit wide. When you're trying to buy above a breakout point, we had 1602. When you're trying to buy above that, first of all, you don't want to buy over 5% above it, and we're not 5%, so I guess you could buy, but your stop loss is wider. Your better stop is probably down here at 6.5%, maybe 7%. So, and yeah, this is going to be what it's going to be. Nice supportive trend line right there. That could also be an alternative stop. All right, next up, let's take a look at Hex. And Hex over here, Hex doing pretty choppy random things, actually. Nice bottoming candle here on some really good volume. Hopefully that will sustain. Hey, what's up, Chad? ETH will flip Bitcoin and leave BTC maxis crying. Okay. ETH will flip Bitcoin and leave BTC maxis crying. Well, I guess that's a viewpoint more than a fact. So, yeah, there's that. That's an opinion. And you have a right to that opinion. Actually, as a matter of fact, I think it was last week, Chad. Wasn't it last week? I think we did talk about ETH potentially flipping Bitcoin at some point. We did discuss it. But it's proven to be difficult. It's really hard to topple Bitcoin. It's really hard to topple the king. Even though ETH is great. I'm not discounting ETH. I really do like ETH. I only hold Bitcoin and ETH for really long-term stuff in cold wallets. So, yeah, it's just one of those dynamics that's interesting. Hold on a minute. I'll be right back. That's funny. So I was talking with my kids. Sorry, I had to say something to my kids real quick while it was in my head because I would have forgotten it. I was telling Ethan something about practicing because he plays piano. I go, Ethan, hey, your piano teacher's not coming today, so do some really pointed practice like you do your karate because he's decently high up in the karate rankings by now, so he does like really good practices, so he knows the effort to put in. And I said, we got to find something for James. And James goes, soccer. I go practice soccer. He goes, darn it, I shouldn't have said anything. That's funny. That was awesome. Kids are fun. If you're a good parent, your kids will be even more fun. All right. Next up is BNB. All right, so here's BNB. BNB did try to break out last night. I guess it did break out a little bit from this channel. A little bit tough to do really good analysis on, but it's starting to move up a little bit. If you really like BNB, just stay with it, I guess. It'll move when the rest of the market does. It's the leader though for us. XRP 3970, that did break out a little bit later yesterday. Had a nice retest and a bounce back up. XRP not leading either, but it's doing pretty good. Dogecoin. Dogecoin here, nice and doji. Nice and doji. I'm cracking myself up here today. No one else is laughing with me. I gotta laugh at something. Let's see. There we go. So that's a good trend line for Doge. Doge not leading the market, but it again moving with the market, not a leader at all. Cardano started leading a little bit earlier in the market, but yeah, I think you're right, Loopy. I think Shiba is outperforming Doge, but they're both kind of garbage. Yeah, see, here's the whole thing about. Let me make a timestamp out of this. There's a whole idea of what to trade, right? So we have all these options going back to CoinMarketCap, as we stated earlier, 22,000 cryptocurrencies. So what do I trade? And we do these analysis about what's outperforming what. I just did it with Bitcoin and Ethereum, so it's not a bad analysis to do. I'm not saying it is. What I'm saying is that to notice that Shiba is outperforming Dogecoin is kind of irrelevant if they both suck to trade. So you really want, if someone trades Shiba all the time and you're used to it, no issues there. But if you're just kind of floating around looking for something to trade and you don't actively trade Shiba, there's no need to trade it. And it is outperforming Doge, but same with Doge. There's no need to trade Doge. Its behavior is kind of garbage. So why even play in that sandbox? You have other sandboxes to play in. Bitcoin putting in very classical, behaving very well, leading the market in percentages. Volume is extraordinary. You don't need. Sometimes people try to do too much, and sticking with the best chart patterns, the best volume signatures, and the first movers. In my experience, and even with YouTube doing this over since 2017. Have always led to great results. There's always going to be some douchebag out there that says, oh yeah, well, Dogecoin did 22,000% where your Bitcoin only did 350%. It's like, yeah, but you didn't buy Dogecoin at, 0.00001 cents, did you? And, you can always throw out these things, but to try to make money effectively in the market, your job should be to be making money effectively. Not to be it on January 31st, be able to put out a tweet that says, I traded the number one coin of the year. It's pointless. The point is at the end of the year to have a positive profit and loss statement in your bank account and not put out a tweet. That should be your job. If you want to say, hey, I made money this year, that's a lot more relevant than saying I was in the number one coin this year. Well, okay, well, that's good. But do that every year. It's really hard. And I've been sucked into that. Let's be clear. I mean, everyone gets sucked into trading penny stocks or, garbage altcoins as they're called in crypto. Everyone gets sucked into trading that. But eventually you get sick of not getting in on the winners and trying to figure out how to get in on the one coin that did it. And then you join every Discord channel and then you're trying to write scripts for this and that, and all of a sudden you realize, hey, shit, if I'd have just held Bitcoin, I'd have done better than doing all this crap. So the whole point is that what to trade? You trade the best because the best is consistent. And the whole reason you have a 9-to-5 job, and I'll be honest, I even have a 9-to-5 job, is consistency. 100% consistency. So if you have a 9-to-5 and you have consistent income, and then you come to the markets and you trade consistent coins, guess what you're going to get? If you consistently do it and do it well, consistent profits. And that's the whole point. So there you go. Doge is at least honest about his purpose of being a meme. It's the other 21,000 that pretend to be something that's not the problem. Yeah, well, I don't really care what any of them do, to be honest with you. Same in the stock market. I'm really agnostic to everything. The only thing I care about, so we'll start with the stock market because there's some actual, fundamentals going on there. So in the stock market, is it growing? Is it a viable business? I care about the fundamentals of the company and what it's doing for the next, right now in the charts, historically in the charts, and over the next, year. What are the earnings going to look like? That's all I care about. I could give crap if they're, let's take Enron as an example. If I made money on Enron, I would have been just as happy if they went bankrupt as if they didn't go bankrupt. You know what I mean? So from my perspective, I'm agnostic to what they do. And I'm agnostic to, Doge or Shiba Swap being honest or not honest, to be quite frank with you. I really care more about the chart pattern if the market's accumulating the asset. Because that's all we're doing. All we're doing is, and here's a beautiful flag. Like, yes, you're right. Shiba's garbage. I agree with you. But on this flag, Shiba was the best of the bunch. Bam! There you go. Another 200% over like 6 days. But this was the best one in the market at the time. 6 days later is a piece of garbage. And that's pretty much all there is to it. That's a good thing. I don't know about that, Loopy. I think I'll respectfully push back a little bit, saying if your introduction to crypto is Doge, then Elon Musk was your introduction to crypto, and you're probably not that into crypto anyways. So obviously there's going to be some exceptions to that rule, but anyway, I think you generally get my point. But yeah, I don't care for, the only ones I like out of any crypto is Bitcoin and ETH. That's it. Bitcoin because it's Bitcoin. It has the stature and the status, and Ethereum because it actually does something and a lot of people use it. That's it. There's really, it's not, it's very simple. It's very, very simple. We talked earlier this year about Solana, being maybe a little bit like Ethereum in terms of, maybe it could try to lead the market. And then most recently, we kind of gave up that premise because it proved to be, have some bugs technologically, and then the whole FTX debacle. But then because it came down so much, we talked about it maybe being a good triage opportunity, because some coins that go down the most come back up the most. And so, again, understanding dynamics and when to put those dynamics into play, which is, and again, we had Solana here, we had it here, we had it here, 1705, 2481, we had all of these. And it's hard to jump in early, but if you do, you're rewarded. So even if you jumped in here, this is where I actually got in. I'm not always the first one in by a long shot, but I got in on this breakout. I'm like, this is really good. Look how nice and flat this is. And, we had alerts at all of these. So the early ones will get in early, and the later ones will get in later. And it is what it is. Why not Bitcoin Cash? It's Bitcoin, but cash. That's right. It's Bitcoin, but cash. They should put that on the website, Brian. I think that is amazing. I think you should go be Bitcoin Cash's marketing director. Boom, done. All right, let's move on. So we talked about Cardano. Let's circle back to Cardano. I don't know if I made this point, but Cardano was kind of an early leader in this market. It has since given a little bit of that leadership, but doing good right now, 2.77%. Don't really count Hex, but leading on the day. Cardano coming back a little later in the game, but not in a bad fashion. We got some red candles. This one's a doji on the prior 2-hour bar, so we'll see how this plays out. That could be interesting, but it is in high territory, which is good. Divergence on the 2-hour RSI, hidden divergence on the 2-hour RSI. We'll see what that leads to, if anything. But this was an early leader. Can't buy it now, though. You got to wait. And this was tricky for the past week. It really was. This is the one I ditched, as a matter of fact. I mentioned earlier that I reduced some position sizes. I had a third position size in Cardano, and I just ditched it. Just because it was lagging a little bit after being a leader, but I knew it was going to come back. And at this morning, I'm like, I shouldn't have ditched Cardano. You know how it goes. All right. Next up is Solana, which is one of our market leaders, but lagging at the moment, although not really lagging too much. But 2481 was the alert level here. This one did do kind of a gooseneck, although it came straight up. A gooseneck pattern is a pattern that I coined in 2018. I think it was 2018. This is a gooseneck pattern right here. So they're not extraordinarily frequent, but it's a coin that breaks down from usually an ascending triangle. And typically they'll come up, and where they break down from, they'll go sideways, then they'll go up. This one just decided to go up, but looks like a gooseneck pattern. And shouts out to Mel for reminding me about the gooseneck pattern, because it's not a classical chart pattern. It's just something I noticed in the markets. I have made up a few good things in the markets, which is I'm proud of that. It's pretty cool. A couple things I noticed. Yeah, not a fan of those patterns. Well, they suck to go through. I'll say that. The whole reason that I even noticed them is because I would try to get in a little early sometimes, and I'll play stop losses, and I just keep getting stopped out. I'm like, what the hell? But then I would notice that they would drop down, and then they would come right back, and I'm like, what is going on here? And it would happen continuously. I don't know if I've seen them in the stock market per se, really more of crypto. Um, but some of them go on to spectacular. And the market dynamic that I think happens behind them is a simple shakeout, is really what it is. So you undercut the low of the pattern, and then you get these shakeouts. But like, look at that green candle right there on Solana. And we talked about that when that happened. We're like, that's a good green candle. And at this time, Solana was the only one printing a green candle. Bitcoin's candle was red. Ethereum's candle they were all red except for Solana and a bunch of smaller coins, a couple smaller ones. But this one was actually able to get green, which was impressive. And fortunately didn't undercut because I had a stop under there. But yeah, rallying back through. But I think it's a simple shakeout. It's just a different way to do a shakeout. And I don't know if it's classical, but it happens often enough. And but Mel mentioned it in chat. I didn't mention it. Mel did. Mel said, "Oh, we're probably going to get some goosenecks." I'm like, "Huh, interesting." So interesting that Mel remembered that. But yeah, gooseneck. It's an interesting dynamic. So it's hard to buy like in the moment, but once we've not gone lower, and then you can go like, that's a good entry point. That's a more safe entry point than trying to buy. Like if you want a really tight stop, then you're waiting for this dip, and then you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, 2 or 3%, and then you're off to the races. This one, the stop obviously would have to be wider, but you could give it 5% down to this recent low. But I mean, the volume signature, everything on Solana, it was our leader, so you have to give it the benefit of the doubt, but it definitely shook out a lot of people. Look at that volume candle they were able to put together. That's a big bit of buying pressure. And then you can see here, they were able to pick up a bunch here. Or no, I guess it was these. So it's the breakout candles. I'm sorry. I thought these were prior to the breakout. That happens sometimes, but then they were able to get some more down here and then rallied up through. So that they're able to pick up a bunch by dropping it down in that fashion. And that's the dynamic with a lot of undercut and rallies is what it's coined. That's a lot of they go down, they hit those stops. It's called the liquidity pool. They'll hit those stops, pick up all those coins, and they can even cause it to drop. They could even cause it to drop. They could go, because you can see it in some order books sometimes. And there may even be some algorithms they have that try to infer order books, or maybe they have some market maker status that allows them to see hidden stops. I don't know. But if it's going to take you $250,000 or $1 million to drop the market to pick up $5 million, like, that's worth doing. And you and I don't do that. It's the institutions, the money makers, market makers that do that. And so it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's just the market dynamic. And if you got hit on this, I'm sorry, it's going to happen, but you just kind of have to let it be. And this earlier we talked about stop losses, and while talking about Bitcoin, and this was one of the situations where you would have been stopped at if you put that stop loss at that low point. So it's tough. It's not easy. It's a double bottom right where you're pointing out. Yep. Yeah, I didn't mention it, but it is a double. Yep, it's a double bottom. Do you think this is a legit bull recovery within larger macro forces of players, just a liquidity grab since the order books were so thin post FTX, and do you suspect we'll continue on our bear path? I think it's going to be neither. I think we're going to get a bull run, and then we're going to go into we've already seen it. And I don't know why I necessarily think this way. I try to think anti-pattern sometimes, but I legitimately think we're here. That's what I think. The chart will tell it better than I can say it. We're gonna get a bull run, and then we're gonna chop, and then we're gonna bear to chop. I don't know if we get this drop. This was COVID, but Brian, if we've talked at length about this whole time period, and I think we're here again, which is interesting. So we're gonna get a bull run, but when the run's over, you got to sell, and then you got to just wait. If you want to try to sell the top and try to short it on the way down, you can do that. That's fine. Some people are going to try to do that, but you don't want to give up these profits that you're going to make here. You don't want to give them up. I don't care if you take all the profit. Check your account balance whenever we started this thing, whatever date that was, over here on the January 10th or 9th, whatever it was. and then check your account balance when you sell. If you want to withdraw the whole thing, that's perfectly fine. And then if you want to play with lesser money, that's fine. But I think we're going to go into some weird malaise. If we start going anti that pattern, you know what I mean? Well, I'll talk about it during the newsletter and in the show and stuff like that. But right now, we're rhyming decently well enough with that. And I think in a macro sense, it makes sense. So, that's what I think is going to happen. I think we get a nice trade. I think things get tricky towards the tail end of these nice trades, as they always do. But you have to be wise with that sell and disciplined enough to not lose it. Hey, what's up, Sankt? How you doing? It's a Fed pivot FOMO. It's a trade. I don't give a shit what it is. To be honest, I don't care. It doesn't matter. The charts foretold the move, and you jump on when the charts tell you something. I don't care why. It literally doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. If you're asking the why question, that's the one question you should never ask. Sometimes the answer will be given to you, like, hey, coronavirus is coming. We're going to shut the whole world down. Okay, well, I should probably sell based on that why. But there's very, very few whys that actually matter. I would argue in any given trading year, you're probably going to be given 12 to 24 why something, why the market's going to do this, why the market's going to do that. In a general sense, not like a specific coin, but a general sense. And I would say on average, 0.5 of those are relevant. So maybe once every 2 years you get some why that's relevant. But most of the time, by ignoring the whys, you will come out ahead. So I don't do why. All right, Solana. I think we're still talking about Solana. I didn't timestamp that, so. But yeah, so Solana's doing pretty good here, and yeah, I'm sold in the Solana position. I don't think there's a reason to be ditching it at this time. We do have a little bit more distribution. If things start to get a little bit more murky, maybe I'll take additional profits and let a little bit run. But so far, I'm happy with what it's doing. And while I would like it to have a follow-through sometime in the next couple of days, we'll see if it happens. All right, next up is Matic. And Matic with a 104.97 alert level. So I mentioned Matic will probably run, and same with Uniswap. They'll probably run if Ethereum starts to lead. If it does at some point, it may not. It may not. Next, it was DOT. DOT with the 6218 is being played with, so this one's a little bit tricky. DOT never really was a leader. It had this one good run right here, and it's been consolidating on that run. And overall, I think it's interesting. I probably actually should raise this alert. This action here isn't extraordinarily good, although if you did buy a position, you probably could place a stop loss down here at about 4% lower than, well, I guess right now that'd be, if you're buying now, you'd be looking at like a 6% stop loss to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. I think I'm actually going to raise this up to the 6537. That makes a little more sense. I don't like how it's transpiring around. This will probably be played with you, though. That's the other thing. What am I on? DOT? There we go. If you do not enter after this height, what should you do? Well, first of all, identify, Ahmad, what you want to buy. Number one. So you can start writing this stuff down. I'll timestamp this. This should be fun. What to do if you haven't bought already. All right, so what do you do if you haven't bought already? Number one, what do you want to buy? At this point in the rally, generally, your leaders have been established, and what has usually led will usually lead the entire run. So that's Bitcoin, that's Solana, a little bit of ADA maybe. We talked about some USD pairs. I don't remember off the top of my head, but whatever led the rally will likely continue to rally. So what you do is you wait for those. Let's just take Solana because it's kind of one of those things. Solana is one of those leaders. So what you would do if you wanted to buy Solana, you'd wait for a pullback, which has already occurred. So you can wait for another pullback, but the other pullback may happen after a breakout, or you can buy a breakout with a stop loss. So normal general trading rules, there's nothing different. And see, here's the thing about trading. All the rules apply all the time. People try to circumvent them because they have FOMO, fear of missing out. They feel like they've already missed a move that they should have gotten into, and all that stuff's perfectly normal. Everybody goes through that. Heck, I even go through that. But the rules never change. So if you try to buy low, you got to wait for a low. If you want to buy in a breakout, you got to wait for a breakout. So Solana, in theory, is breaking out. Now, this one's a little bit harder because it straight up ran from the low to the top, taking all of its momentum. Instead of the breakout being here and running up, right, it broke out low and ran to recent highs. So it's harder to buy right here. We could see a pullback. In fact, we have seen one already here. This is a bit of a swing failure pattern. So it pops up, comes back down. We're probably going to chop around for a while, but what you want to do is buy in a dip or buy in a really good breakout. And this is a good breakout. Low volume into high volumes, things moving in a good fashion, but this breakout should be up here. It's just not. It is what it is. Nothing bad about that, but you identify what you want to buy. Let's say it's Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's still running 2.6. How do you get into this? Well, first of all, you have to get in safely so you have a manageable stop loss, because you've got to have a good stop loss. H-bar and Gala, let's see. H-bar's in a bit of a pullback. That's not too bad. Not quite ready for me though. And Gala is too much in the middle of a range. So Gala's got a range going on here. I have an alert here at the 04375 based on this thing right here. Notice it's been respected. So if it gets back down towards the 04375, you could buy and try to place a tight stop. That's a wide stop, but I guess it is what it is. Wide percentages, that's why. But Gala looks pretty good. Just not right now. You're right in the middle of this range. You don't have any edge here, because your stop would have to be about 11%, and up to here's about 11%. So you're pretty darn close. There's no edge on Gala. But H-bar, I think is on my newsletter today. We're going to talk about it later anyways. But it's a little early, I think, to buy H-bar. We'll talk about it. My best altcoin right now? Well, Solana's not pumping. It would normally be Solana, being as it's been our leader, but I mean, Solana's going to be a name mentioned. I don't know if I have a favorite altcoin right now. Bitcoin's leading this move. So Bitcoin's my favorite altcoin in reality right now. Bitcoin's leading the rally, so it's Bitcoin. It's not even an altcoin. I've been watching FET creep up. Wish I'd bought it, looking for a way in. Yeah, Fetch AI, we have that actually coming up in BTC pairs. It was on the newsletter today, so we'll get to that. All right, so next up is Tron. Yeah, if you're looking for altcoins and stuff like that, guys, I guess just pump my service for a second, because why else am I doing this? I guess, but my website, Real Crypto, I do have a newsletter that goes out daily, and goes over all of these things. Yeah, how do I get to my... So here's the Power Hour page, and I have all my newsletters here. So, we can go back, if you talk about altcoins, like when to get in and stuff, let's go back. I don't think I may have done this once before going into a newsletter, but let's look at Solana on one of these breakouts, because it's just an easy, I don't want to waste a bunch of your time on this. Just give me a minute, I guess. So let's look at like January 8th, I guess, with the newsletter. I should have, yeah, Solana right there. So Solana's in an early buy range. So these are those prior alert levels. We had 1019, 1205. So yeah, it's actually just poking ahead of the 13.6. So it's an early buy range. We're going to increase volume as well. I cannot tell you guys to legitimately buy. I can't say buy this, okay? I just can't. As a human being that does this, I just can't do that. But that's pretty darn clear. We're in an early buy range. We're getting increased volume as well. It's not always that cut and dry, you know what I mean? But already with two alert levels behind it, volume stepping in, what else did I have on here? No BTC pairs. BTC pairs have been awkward. There's near with a trend line break early if you want it. 1623 with the standard breakout. So yeah, not the most. They're formatted really badly in the PDF. In email, they're way better. This looks like I used to move these up, but it just takes too dang long. And I asked anyone if they cared. They said no, so I just started doing it like that. But anyway. But yeah, so yeah, if you need to know what altcoin to buy, you got to get in earlier. Like, you got to get in earlier. That's the whole point of these things, right? It's hard to buy when you're up. You got to, and I will say this, it's nice to have a bit of a guide in the market. And I think that's why people, use new. I mean, I still subscribe to one newsletter, and I like the second opinion. You know what I mean? I like the guide in the market. The guy thinks a lot like me, and most of the time, every once in a while he'll find something that I don't have. And it's actually stock. It's not even crypto. I don't subscribe to anything crypto personally. It's stock market stuff. But every once in a while he'll have something I don't have, and I like a second view on the indexes. But he has my style, so it's really good. But anyway, just find somebody that you vibe with. It doesn't even have to be me. Find someone that you vibe with, and get that second opinion. It's hard living in your own head for the most part. Anyway, but yeah, I don't really have like a favorite altcoin. Yeah, we'll get to FET. Okay, Shiba Swap. Shiba actually has a cup and handle on it that I saw earlier. I didn't see it during the newsletter. So we'll throw an alert over the handle. It had one here at 11:06.2, and there's another one here. So we'll throw an alert here at the 12:50. Shiba. Trying to find it. What the heck is that? Oh, yeah, that's right. I always forget Shiba Swap has like 4 zeros in front of it. So it looks weird when I'm placing the alert on it. All right, so 1250 for Shiba Swap. Someone said it earlier, Shiba's been better than Doge. That is 100% accurate. I think it was Loopy, right? Loopy said something about, well, someone said something about Shiba being better than Doge, and it is. It has better patterns too. So we did put an alert 11:06. We came back, we tested it. 1250 is on the docket now, so that's not too bad. AVAX. AVAX 1776 alert level. This is not a cup and handle, by the way. For those of you thinking that's a cup and handle, there's no prior uptrend. The prior trend was sideways. So, but it is what it is. One thing AVAX has going for it, which I kind of like, I thought about, remember you mentioned earlier someone said what to get in. This is a candidate. AVAX had a really good shot up here from some AWS news. Not a lot of distribution stepped in, and I think it's got a shot. And it's got a nice horizontal it's been stuck on since the 14th. So going on about a week here. And I think this has a good shot for a good move up. So you can look for laggards, and we haven't really talked about leaders versus laggards. And so let's do that. Leaders versus laggards. I'm all about leaders, but occasionally laggards do pop up. If you're finding yourself lagging the general market and can't find a way into a Solana or even Bitcoin at this stage of the game, if you think the stops are just too crazy, then something like an AVAX could do good. Because, I mean, it's got a good pattern. Volume signature is pretty good. Yeah, RSI's pulled back a little bit. Volume's nice overall. So this is something you could try to hang your hat on and maybe have a go at something like this. So you can wait for the breakout, which is the right thing to do. And then whatever your low is under here, that could be your stop loss. So that's about a 6% stop loss if you buy right at the alert level. The higher you buy, the wider your stop has to be by definition. And at this point, you probably make this an ascending triangle too, actually. So, yeah, AVAX is not bad. And AVAX is a good coin. So it makes sense that we try to do something at some point. Uniswap. Oh, and the other thing too is that this may be forgotten about. Forgotten coins can be very powerful. Coins with high volume, with good high patterns, forgotten about, very powerful because everyone jumps back into them. So if you're paying attention, you can capitalize on that. All right, Uniswap. 6607 was broken, but we talked about this one being iffy as it was. So I do the alerts, but we also give context in like 80% of. Sometimes they just throw an alert and it is what it is, but most of the time we give a lot of context. It hasn't been a leader. Again, it'll probably move when ETH moves, if ETH moves. Atom. Atom's been moving a little bit on its own, and it did break. I didn't have an alert level, but we drew a trend line yesterday. It was poking right at it, so if you were paying attention, you could have got in on that. There's another small pattern right here. This could maybe be considered a cup and handle, but it's kind of knocking on not being a cup and handle. This just probably being a bull flag. So AVAX is doing pretty good. Nice consolidation. It's going to try to break through this trend line, I hope. And I hope we get a nice move up. You could end up with some kind of a crazy measured move here. You could take a measured move like this, which would give you an 80% gain. If you're really aggressive, you could try to do it on the breakout, which takes you back to highs. Oh, that'd be pretty cool, because that means a bunch of stuff's breaking out. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking we probably do this one. I see when you get these big patterns like this, if I go from bottom to high, I like to go from bottom to high. I don't like to go from breakout to high. It seems a little bit too needy. And another thing too is where this stalls at is a breakdown point. So that'd be a very natural resistance area too. All right, Chainlink. Chainlink. All right. Chainlink back up to our 7075 with a quickness. Wow, that's nice. Okay, good. Very nice. Almost like a double bottom pattern here, as a matter of fact. So if you like Chainlink, this is something that that you could try to jump in on. This is a laggard. It definitely is not leading in this environment. So if you buy a Link, just keep that in mind. What a laggard does, a laggard ends up with less gains, less powerful moves, and they're harder to trade. Litecoin. Litecoin going through motions here. Really not too much going on with Litecoin, to be honest with you. It'll probably have one or two blast off. See, it had one or two blast off days here. It'll probably get those again. I don't know. Like, this one's been hard to pinpoint. I don't really spend a lot of time on it. All right, let's wrap up the top 20 USD. And top 20 USD doing pretty good. Your leaders are doing okay, and your laggards are doing what they do, which is not a whole lot. Bitcoin is the leader of this cycle. Point blank and period. There's nothing else to say about that. Solana is a percentage leader. Obviously moving into recent highs, but not that much. But Solana is still excellent as well. Your leaders remain the same. Your laggards remain the same. ETH will play catch up at some point. It's in good circumstances, but we're still in a bull trend, and you got to go with it. If you're shorting, you're going to lose money unless you take profits extraordinarily quickly. All right, next up are USD pairs. These are the ones on my newsletter that I sent out. Not very thin these days because the top 20 are really where the action is. It's HBAR. Somebody mentioned HBAR earlier, and HBAR is on the newsletter. We talked about this yesterday. This is on yesterday's newsletter. It's really funny. Sometimes I'll point out coins and I don't know why I'm pointing them out. Like, let's go back to actually, I can't show you. I haven't uploaded yesterday's newsletter yet. And sometimes I upload them weekly. That's my bad. But let's look at yesterday's newsletter. The 20th, right? Yeah. Yeah, so here's yesterday's newsletter with HBAR. Let me take it off. I don't want to give anyone's email address away, but I do want to show. Okay. BCC. Oh, yeah, this is the public one, so this is cool. Okay, so here's yesterday's newsletter, 120.23, so sure I'm not pulling this out of my butt. HBAR is the only USD pair I had. Haven't covered this one, but it's been on a run. It could keep going like this, as there's some in every cycle that do, but waiting for a base is wise. And didn't prove really to be that wise to wait for a base. During the show, though, I mentioned it looked a little bit different, and I said there's a horizontal across, so you could buy there if you want to. That's all I said. I didn't say it was going to go, but sometimes I'll point things out that just do that. It's like, oh, dang, that's crazy. So sometimes pointing out things in a lucky fashion. Luck is experience plus opportunity. So if you find someone that's lucky, they've probably been doing something for a while, and they put themselves in a position to succeed. And that's what a lot of trading is, actually. Getting lucky in trading is about experience and opportunity, and you being here to do that. All right, next up is APT. This is a new one to the community, actually. Loopy says, don't forget to slam the thumbs up button. Absolutely, hit that thumbs up button. APT, this one I didn't know about till last night. I was just searching for coins, and I'm like, oh, what's this thing? APT is like a percentage leader for the day. And it was later in the day, too. And I'm like, wow, this thing's looking great. Look at this thing on the daily time frame. Look at the volume stepping in here, kind of when the whole market started to go. The ninth, and this is. I wish I would have seen this, guys. We've been a little remiss on this lately in terms of finding new coins, but because the market's just been garbage. But look at this. This is just classical power hour stuff here. Can't catch them all, but it's just really classical stuff in terms of new coins. If you've been with the show for a while, we've done this setup freaking 50 times. Doesn't work every time, but in this one it would have done. Already into new highs. This one should keep going. I think this one's just going to keep going. It was ranked 35 when I looked into it, and I tried to get into it yesterday. I placed my stop a little bit too tight. Let's go to the 5-minute. Yeah. So it was in this beautiful flag right here. It was just sitting. It was sitting right here in this nice flag, and I'm like, oh, this is pretty nice. So and actually, I was a victim of what I told you guys about earlier. I put my stop under this low, and it wicked me out. But it was a quarter position size, and it was a whatever percent the stop loss was. It wasn't a bad hit at all. But I think this one's interesting. So it's some Web3 garbage in terms of a project and what it does. So we'll see what happens with it. What you got there, Brian? Let's read your comments. I don't see it happening now. ETH is POS, as a POS coin doesn't do anything that much better than its peers to justify flipping BTC pre-upgrade, maybe. So you're jumping back to the Ethereum not flipping Bitcoin. So Ethereum has a first mover advantage, Brian, and that's why it's going to hold. If you talk to a lot of developers, and I talk to some, I'm not deep. I'm not going to say I'm deep in the developer community, but I do talk to some people that have developed and are developers, and they're like, people just use Ethereum. It's just kind of a standard, and there's a lot of apps on Ethereum. It's a big ecosystem. Why would you switch? They've been talking about building on Cardano is actually harder than building on Ethereum. Solana is harder than building on Ethereum, and the Solidity language that Ethereum uses is very widely adopted now. So the incentive to switch is negligible. So it'll just lead because it's been leading, and I still don't think it. I don't think it flips Bitcoin, but it's always interesting to talk about. All right, next up is BTC pairs and FET. Hey, there we go. Look at that. So FET, I've got a 1349 alert in a cup and handle, cup of the high handle, and it still looked like it's working on that. So, and I forgot to timestamp that. So yeah, it's still, Fetch is doing pretty good. One stuck in a base here versus Bitcoin. Most of them are actually in a downtrend because Bitcoin's been so strong. And then JST. So this is another one that one of the few that has a horizontal 02491. We're knocking on this alert level. I had to get really specific with it in terms of where it was because we're so close to it. Volume is your friend here. If you see really good volume stepping in, then you can jump in on this. Your stop would likely be under this recent low, which is about 3%. Not too bad. The ultimate low down here is about 8.5%. So this one has some potential as well. So that's what I saw today. I don't understand how some people see proof of work as the only real crypto, but most people just don't care. It's an interesting dynamic. I think it's difficult to have hard and fast opinions on things like that because the marketplace will tell you what they want, and you can say technically one thing is good and technically one thing is better from a technical perspective, but even those are opinions, right? It's the marketplace that's really going to tell you what's what. So for instance, take Ethereum Classic and Ethereum, kind of a little bit of an apples to apples comparison, a little bit. There was a disagreement over the hack, and if you guys don't know, Ethereum was hacked early on, identified a hole in the program or something. I don't know the full story. And so they decided to roll back that block to that block and give that person their money back to, discourage the hackers from hacking, I guess. And that forked the network. Now you have Ethereum Classic, and now you have Ethereum. And obviously the market said Ethereum wins, but, going back to So here's Ethereum at $200 billion market cap, and Ethereum Classic has really held its own for having nothing on it, because last time we looked at it, I think it legitimately has nothing on its network. Like the traffic is just garbage. I think I passed it already. It's not that low. Yeah, 24. It's 24. I passed it. So 3 billion market cap. So 200 billion value versus 3 billion value. So the market speaks. The market speaks for you. You don't even have to think. That's the beautiful part about trading with charts. You really don't have to think about all this other esoteric stuff. You just look at the chart and go, yeah, chart good. Line go up. Volume go up. And usually that's enough. All this other garbage from a trading perspective is irrelevant. So, all right, those are all the coins I had. Let's take a look at stocks and Tesla. Markets had a really, really good day on Friday. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm happy to see it. NASDAQ 2.82%. We talked about on Thursday, Friday, during the video Thursday, Friday, we talked about markets coming back down. Hopefully it's short-lived. And look at Friday. Bam, coming back with a vengeance. This may actually be a triple witching Friday, and it is. It is a triple witching Friday. Triple witching Friday is the third Friday of the month. It's where futures options expire. I forget what the third one is. I always do. But it's where you usually get a good amount of volume. So that's a good sign, 2.82%. Really nice. So look at Microsoft, 3.5, Tesla 5, Amazon 4, Square, a bunch, AMD, NVIDIA, good. Right, blockchain, good. So things are looking pretty good overall. I like the stability down here. I'll take some good up days for sure. ES erasing a good amount of the losses. Dow Jones lagging is good. So here's a dynamic that we talk. I think so, Loopy. Elon isn't doing it any favors. That's for damn sure. But I think it has. So this is the dynamic you want to see. If you guys trade at all the stock market or are interested in the dynamics of the stock market, leaders and laggards, like we've been discussing with crypto, NASDAQ's your leader, Dow's your laggard. So when you see the NASDAQ leading up and almost tripling the Dow Jones, that's what you want to see. Because this is a risk-on type of a situation where they're like, oh, these things are too far down. We're going to buy the crap out of them because there's value here, or whatever the dynamic. I mentioned the why doesn't matter, and it doesn't. But the dynamic is that the NASDAQ is it should be leading. In a nutshell, if the market's bullish, the NASDAQ's leading. If the market's bearish, the Dow will be leading. And so this is a good dynamic. Transportation index is doing good, holding higher. That's really good. Transports kind of lead the markets a little bit. Apple still off of the low, back above 130. So that's good dynamic right there. Microsoft having a great day, 3.5%. There's still great values here in these mega caps too. Even if we do go lower a little bit, it depends on the shoe that drops. If there is another shoe that drops, if you do go into a full-blown recession, these gains can be erased. We're not back in safety areas yet by a long shot. But as long as we chop around, we're good. So the reason I think Tesla's bottom is look at all this volume. Look at the average volume. And Tesla did have a few days, more than a few days, of really high volume to the downside. But once we got down here, there does seem to be a floor right around 10 whatever. Pick a number, doesn't matter. 105. We got almost down to 100. So the big round number theory of 100 coming into effect on Tesla. So whether we get back down there, the negative to Tesla is we don't have a lot of upward momentum. But that could just be due to the market generally. You see it in Apple. Like Apple isn't rocking into new highs. Microsoft's not rocking into new highs. Tesla's not either. And that is definitely a flaw. So could we come up and roll over and then go down like that? That's what everyone's scared about, right? Is it likely? I don't know, man. It's really tricky. The thing about Tesla going much lower is it has broken all long-term stuff. Just period. It has. So this is a full reset on Tesla. While you will be able to use some support and resistance from prior to this drop, it pretty much broke all of its support. So it's in kind of uncharted territory right now. So this is where it's kind of risky to do things, and because it's just uncharted stuff. But I do like the elevated volume down here. And we took a look at this, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago. If you want to look at the timestamps in my public videos here, I think it was a public video. We talked about Tesla and some of these other high high market cap companies, and we looked at some fundamental valuations, and Tesla was cheap. Tesla's cheap down here based on its current growth rate. So, but we'll see what happens. Things could change. Maybe Elon gets even more crazy and tries to buy Snapchat next. Who the fuck knows? Amazon. Interesting dynamic. I have this inverted head and shoulders drawn on Amazon. I'm just going to leave it there. We'll see if it plays out or not. Bunch of gobbledygook, form a right shoulder, then off you go. I don't know. We'll see. But it does have a left shoulder and a head with declining volume patterns. And one thing this would do in Amazon is give it a really, really, really well-defined low. If you want to buy some Amazon for longer term, you are in some rarefied air down here, my friends, going all the way back to pre-COVID levels after it gained market share. Like if you look at the earnings, we've been doing this. If you look at these earnings here, earnings are 25 cents, standardized 25.1. You look at earnings here, 27 cents, and this is earnings coming up, I think. Yeah, they did have some negative earnings. 138 there, so stocks are so weird. Earnings mean everything yet nothing at the same time. It's a weird dynamic. 79 cents at the high. So this is when they were really, really going for it here, but notice the stock didn't move. Anyway, we're back down to some pretty low levels, and could be kind of a buy for the next five years if you're looking at something really low. Tesla, Amazon in these levels, Apple, even all of them really. All right, Square's dynamic, forming a low here, trying to rally up and through. This could be considered a cup of sorts. ExxonMobil still in highs with oil holding relatively steady, and all these others, blah, blah, blah. Gold and silver, I'm sorry, just they suck. AMD, I'm kind of interested in the dynamic between AMD and NVIDIA. I do have an AMD position. And I was thinking about getting an NVIDIA position. NVIDIA has inverted head and shoulders here. Volume signatures, not quite right. Not quite right for that, but if you kind of just give it the benefit of the doubt, and I haven't thought about this. This is something I want to do. I do want to do. I want to start digging again into options. If anyone's interested in doing some homework with me, hit me up in Slack. And I don't have as much time as I used to, so I just can't do all the homework I need to. But we're getting in some pretty interesting options trading territory, I think. So that's the dynamic. That's taking us all the way back to all-time highs in NVIDIA. And it definitely could be a really big money play in the cards here, potentially. So, but I think the market's looking pretty good overall. Let's take a look at the dollar for a minute. So the dollar is still in the downtrend. And TradingView erased all my trend lines, so there we go. But this downtrend is still intact. Hit divergences all across the RSI. We'll probably get a pop at some point. I don't know, but the market seems to think that the Fed has done the most damage it's going to do, because that's really why the dollar was running, is when the Fed was raising interest rates 0.75 of a basis point. It seems like every 7 days. It wasn't every 7 days. It just seems like it. And they're done. So they're unwinding this dollar trade. And there you go. Euro's been stable and even rising a little bit there. Very nice. The pound has a full-blown cup on it. Holy crap. Hey, what's up, Mike? Yeah, look at the pound, Mike. Look at your currency, bud. You guys are going to get a nice bull run here. Back to normal levels. BTC only position was a way to go. Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Mike. It's leading the market by a long shot in terms of moving. Solana's a bigger percentage leader, but there's only a couple of them. BTC's great. Dollar about to hit its major trend line just as BTC's about hit is. Wonder about rejection. Oh, interesting. Which major trend line on the dollar are you referring to? A horizontal here, or let me go to the weekly, and I'll just auto it. You talk about there may be a horizontal right there. You're talking trend lines, so you can go, that's a bit of ways away from that. And the declining trend line off the top are going in the wrong direction, so I'm not sure exactly which one you're you're looking at. In terms of dollar Bitcoin, I think it's irrelevant, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Yeah, right, Mike? So this is one of those, three now Bitcoin up only rallies. Bitcoin only up rally. Sorry, I was trying to like hiccup and speak at the same time. That was awkward. Yeah, I mean, I don't really trade the dollar like this on a currency basis. Like if I wanted to buy the pound, the pound's got a cup and handle on it with really look at this weekly volume. People were eating up the pound down here, so we probably will get back up to the 140 in relatively short fashion. Maybe the next month. I don't know. Maybe more than a month. Currencies are generally pretty slow. Looks good though. Oh, thank you very much, Brian. Yeah, it's a great way to inform of trend lines. Let's look. Check the footsie. All right, we'll do that in a minute. May 11th. May. Wait, that's the British pound. No wonder it's looking weird. May 2011 to now. Oh, is that the one I have drawn? There's May 2011. Oh, that's the one. I think that's the one I have drawn there. I don't know how else you could draw that. Oh, you trying to do that? Are you trying? Oh, I think you're trying to do that. Are you trying to hit this low from January 2018? Yeah, that's going to be a tough. If you really raise it up to hit this low, I think that's going to be a tough one. You're trying to hit 3 points. Okay, I get it. Yeah. I don't know. This is a big undercut, so I not a big fan of that particular one. It's just not my style, I don't think. I see what you're doing, and I will do this from time to time. Usually not with this much of an undercut, and usually not on a currency because currencies don't move a whole heck of a lot. If you see something like this that one's pretty good. You could try to cut that in because you're giving up tiny wicks, right? But this one you're giving up what appears to be many months, if not a year worth of action. You're talking 637 days of action you're willing to obfuscate from the chart. I don't usually do that. Well, I don't think the Bitcoin thing, Brian, has much to do with the macro. I think it's just trading stuff, in my opinion. I think people are feeling a little bit better with the new year that the market hasn't tanked and Bitcoin hasn't really done anything. And I have a saying is if we don't go down, we go up. If we don't go up, we go down. And I think Bitcoin was in a situation where it wasn't going down. And there's usually pressure. There's always pressure. Like look at this. Like look at this guy. Does the U.S. dollar really have to go from 119 down to 70 cents? You know what I mean? Like 41% in a current like the only reason at all that the US dollar isn't pegged at a dollar, and I know it is, but just bear with me. The only reason it's not pegged at a dollar is because we have currency markets. It's the market part to it. The second you add markets in the mix, you get all this bullshit. And I mean, I don't know. Like, I get it. You kind of have to value the dollar against the euro and the pound against the dollar and all that stuff. But it's like, really? So, uh, but look at this. Like, when does this stay stable? This is a weekly chart. You get a little bit of stability here. You get like a little bit, but everything's always moving. Like we're so crazy. This is pretty dumb actually. In reality, currency markets are stupid. I think they're stupid. It's just I could go into. I've actually never really had this thought before, so it's fun exploring it. But okay, I'm going to timestamp this. I think currency markets are stupid. And let's see if you guys think I'm right or if I'm wrong. Let's see if I think I'm right or if I'm wrong, because I don't even know if I'm right or I'm wrong on this one. But I just generally think let's think about this for a second. We all use currency. We have to use currency. Why does the currency itself have to fluctuate? Why? Why can't Britain have their own dollar and the US have their own dollar? And why do they have to be valued against each other? It's just like, I get it. It's just so freaking weird. It's just so weird. No, I guess we commoditized bread and lettuce and goats and cows. Why not commoditize currencies? It just seems really weird. Why can't you have the pound? Yeah, why do we have to? Like, on one side I get it. On the other side, it's like, look at Zimbabwe with that whole inflation. That's the one recently. 124 timestamps are stupid. Yeah, that's what I wrote. So this is my spreadsheet I keep right here. I think currency markets are stupid. You'll see this in the video later, but that's my timestamp sheet. But yeah, like, why? Why do we have to have this? Why? I don't know. It's so weird. Like in the U.S., why can't we just have U.S. money and why do we have to have inflation? It's so, like, I get it's free market. Like I said, I've never had this thought before, but it's really weird. Like, why? Why do you have to have markets? I guess because of arguments and value. Man, we are so weird. I can't wait to have a Star Trek economy and I can just focus on, like, figuring out the secrets of the universe instead of trading crap. Wouldn't that be a lot more fun? All the brain power in this room right now. If you're listening to me, you're probably half a nerd, okay? Because I'm pretty darn nerdy. And all the brain power, if we're all focusing on how to, feed everybody off of 1 gallon of water, that would be a much better use of our brain resources and all this garbage. But no, we're stuck doing this. So thanks, human societal evolution. Thank you. Yeah. But I think currency markets are stupid. But to the point earlier, the whole point Bitcoin moves is just because the market has to move. And it's because of this, it's because we're impatient. Look at TikTok. I surf Reddit like it's going out of style. Like I'm searching for the antidote. Like Reddit's going to give me the antidote to something. I was thinking that last night. I'm like, why am I scrolling through Reddit? It's a little bit like TikTok, but with reading for the most part. I'm like, what am I looking for here? It's pretty stupid. That's stupid. This is stupid. Like, why do currencies have to fluctuate like this? It's so weird. It's like we need some sort of electronic money with a cap of 21 million or so. That may be a way to go, Loopy. That's not bad. You should get working on that. I'll help you out. Let's do it. Yeah, some kind of electronic money. It's so weird. You know what? I wonder if we could take that 21 million and split it into 8 fragments per token. That would be good. Because then you'd have more than 21 million, but you'd have 21 million, but you'd have 8 times 21 million. Actually, it's more than that, isn't it? How many possible Satoshis are there? Let's ask ChatGPT. I really like ChatGPT, by the way. I've been using it. I'm writing a program and I'm gonna use it to pair code on it. So let's ask ChatGPT, because I don't feel like doing math. How many possible Satoshis? They're called sats, huh? Sats are there available in Bitcoin? I hope not. I hope not. It should stay as it is. That's the whole point. See, it even knows what a sat is. There you go. Divided on 8 decimal. So there are 100 million Satoshis in each Bitcoin. So 2.1 quadrillion is the answer. See, I knew ChatGPT was going to do it for me. Look at this. This thing is cool, man. I've been waiting for this for probably about 5 years now because I'm really scatterbrained and it's hard to find stuff for me sometimes because Google sucks now. But ChatGPT, so 2.1 quadrillion. We should do something like that, Loopy. I think that's great. I don't think they need to do the 10th decimal place. I think that's stupid. It needs to stay as it is. Just period. They just need to, if the security thing comes up, they need to do that. But fundamentally, it should remain the same. It should be what kind of gold is not. Because gold is inflationary too. But anyway, go ChatGPT. Thanks, chat. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions? When Moon. I usually get that one every once in a while. It's important. Look at chat. It's important to conduct your own research and make your own investment decisions. FET, is it moving? That was BTC pair, I think, right? I don't know. It's time to wrap it up, though, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the 2-hour time frame. Oh, you're looking at buying lower? Oh, yeah, FTSE, Mike. Yeah, let's do that. Sorry. Could be. Yeah, we're kind of at a little low if you wanted to. So if you want to do something like this, Fraser, what I would do is I would start nibbling into positions. You don't have to take your full position size right now, just in case it does come down further. We can come down to this low and still be a manageable low. So I don't think you really have to go all in right now. But see, that's 6%. So if you want to dump like a quarter of a position size on it right now, if you like that level, that's not the worst thing you could do. I'm not too mad at that. And then your 6% stop loss effectively, let's just say 8% stop loss, effectively becomes a 2% stop loss. So it's really tight, manageable stop. I think that's something you could do if you want to. But always make sure you have an exit point. Yeah, let's look at the FTSE. Sorry about that, Mike. See, Mike knows I'm scatterbrained like a motherfucker, so. I don't even know how to look at the FTSE. I'm assuming I just type FTSE. And let's go full screen. Yep, I just typed FTSE. Is one of these better than the other? That's Paris. Do I go to that one? I'm not sure. Yeah, the FTSE is the UK 100. Okay, so don't I get a UK? Shouldn't I want a UK flag? Do they give volume? Euronext? FTSE top 100 Euro? I'll do that one. What? How was that sitting way up there? That's bonkers. Is this the right chart? What is in the FTSE Euro Top 100? Oh, is this why that dude's the world's richest person? I saw that on some other some meme thing on Reddit. No, I want to see what are the components. In the UK. So this is Europe, so maybe it's a different one. I don't know. Oh geez, they denominate them in their local currency? That's weird. Really, Maersk? I know some of these. Barclays. Oh, this is alphabetical order. This is dumb. If I'm looking for the top 100, why can make me scroll through a list? That's stupid. Wait a minute. I'm in the list of the top 100. There's only 88. Someone's getting fired on Monday. We trust you with financial matters? Oh my goodness. This is not good. British American Tobacco? UK 100. Okay. Let's go back. Let's get off of this. European FTSE garbage. UK 100. UK 100 index. Would that be the one to look at? Do you have a symbol, Mike? And I'll just type it in. I don't know. Because I'm in uncharted territory here. Get the pun? Uncharted. Dang, that does look good. I wonder why. That can't be it. Yeah, so I thought I was looking for UK. So let's go to indices, and I was trying to find English flag. Okay, so that's euro, but yeah, I'm definitely looking for UK top 100. FTSE 100 index, UK. It says UK 100. Maybe it's the same thing. UK AOD index on the NASDAQ. Does the NASDAQ have a FTSE equivalent? I would think they would. Got everything else, for crying out loud. UK Great British Pound Index? No. Index 100. This is so darn complicated. I got no idea, Mike. But both the ones I saw were like, wow, you're right. They do look pretty good. Look at this consolidation too, and I'm on a weekly chart. Oh no, I'm on a daily chart. What's a weekly look like? Oh, this goes back to 2018. So let's look at the UK GDP growth rate, I guess. Not GDP. Earnings growth rate. It's so hard to like find indexes and stuff. Anyway, that's a horrible rabbit hole to go down. It's not going to lead anywhere. Interesting. Yeah, that's definitely unique. I wasn't expecting that. But when you look at the pound, I mean, this pound chart looks solid. Look at all that. Look at all that support down there. I think that's going to keep going up. I knew I should have bought some pound. It was down at $1.10. I'd be up 10% by now. Not life-changing money. Yeah, I should have bought it and just saved it for when I go to Europe next. That would have been the smart thing to do. So let's thank ChatGPT for giving us the number 21 quadrillion, which I was too lazy to do. But yeah, 21 quadrillion. We could do some currency stuff with that. Let's get on it, Loopy. All right, everyone. I think that's it. I'm going to get out of here. Let's wrap it up. Let's do a wrap up. I missed the public shows, guys, I got to say. All right. Let's wrap it up. Very interesting time in cryptocurrency. We are in a definite uptrend, and Bitcoin's leading, and clicks aren't working. So Bitcoin's leading us up. It likes to run on the weekends for whatever reason. I don't know why, but we're pegging the top of our current range. Pretty good volume. 20 minutes left. Could turn into a good candle. Pullback should be bought in this market environment, especially with your leaders. Cardano's trying to get back into leadership, which it had at one point. Solana is still doing fine, coming up off of its lows. Looks like it's maybe lead the next cycle. Bitcoin's going this time around. And really, you don't need to think too outside of the box on this one. Bitcoin's your leader. Probably will be your leader this entire cycle until it falters and tops out, and we will have it when it does that. I don't know what else to say. So we had it last time it topped out in 2019, and I'm pretty sure we'll have it this time again. I'm pretty confident. I'm really confident this time around. I don't know why. I just feel like the more, because I do this every day, and the more I see it, the more, I don't know. I feel better this time around. I feel that this top's going to be, I feel like that we're going to get the top. I got a good buy point. I think I'll have a good sell point. And obviously, I'll relay that to you guys. Chainlink undervalued? Who cares? Chainlink is a laggard, so I'm not interested in Chainlink. I don't give a crap at all. Yeah, right, Mike? We called 2019 pretty darn spot on with the topping candle. I mean, it was pretty like, yep, that's a topping candle. So what do you do with the topping candle? It's kind of a redundant question. It's a topping candle. But I can't like legally, I can't just tell people to sell. I can't just tell people to buy. Nor do I want to. I mean, you guys, eventually, you know, everyone's got a little fish type of a situation. But yeah, when you get a topping candle, we'll sell, and then we'll see what it is. But Chainlink's a laggard, Welltech, and undervalued does not exist in cryptocurrency. Probably with one exception, is And Chainlink would qualify for this. If you find something that is a quality crypto, okay, and you have to realistically understand what a quality crypto is, which is debatable. Let's be honest. There's no checklist you can do for a quality crypto, but Chainlink quality crypto. Solana's our example in this instance. Solana's our example. You find a quality crypto that has been beaten up beyond recognition, 96% for Solana, and it will likely have a better bounce than the rest of them. That's it. You've got your leaders, you've got your ones that are beaten up beyond recognition, and that's it. Chainlink, however, was not beaten up near as much, I think, as a lot of the other ones. I don't think. I haven't really spent a lot of time. 89%. Geez, that's pretty beaten down. Although, you can also say, talk about valuation, if you want to go that route. Chainlink has always been majorly overvalued because it's an API coin, but like way up where it shouldn't be, if that makes sense. So when you look at like the levels of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is going to be top, likely forever. After that is going to be your best layer one networks. Should be your best layer one networks because they're the networks. You've got ETH, you've got BNB's a layer one, and wrapped in here you have some of these stable coins, obviously. Cardano's a layer one. Dogecoin is a weird, freakish crypto anomaly. Solana's a layer one. Matic's kind of a layer one. DOT's a layer one. And then, what are we talking about? Chainlink. Chainlink was up here for a long time with the layer ones. It's like why is an API coin in with the layer ones? And it really shouldn't be. So it's down at 21, which is a lot more manageable. So if you want to talk about valuation, that's kind of how I would do it. I would say, okay, what does it do within its industry? How does the industry relate to other industries? And what is more valuable? Well, obviously Ethereum is more valuable than what references the price of Ethereum. And so that's Chainlink, should not be in the top 10. Shouldn't even be in the top 20 probably, but it is very widely used. So undervalued is hard to say in that regard. But like I said, it's the dynamic of price swings sometimes that gives you that undervalued situation. But if you like it, you want to hold it, I guess that's up to you. Does Link actually do anything? Yeah, it does. No, Link is very useful. Link is a quality cryptocurrency. It's an oracle, basically. Connects smart contracts with off-chain data and services. So, yeah, it kind of changed the game with Aave and all that stuff. Hey, what's up, Ted? Late as usual. This must be time, buddy. Chainlink has enabled 6 trillion in value. So what do they do? So they're an API, so they facilitate. So in other words, if you have an Ethereum smart contract, oh, you're sick. I'm sorry, bud. I'll try to talk a little less energy. If you've got an Ethereum contract, you want to say, okay, I want to pay you X amount if the price of BNB goes to Y. Well, Ethereum by itself does not know what the price of BNB is, so it has to go get it. And Chainlink is essentially an API endpoint to get that information, if I'm understanding that correctly. I mean, it's been a while since I've heard that. So Chainlink greatly expands capabilities. Expands the capabilities of smart contracts, enabling access to real-world data and off-chain computation while maintaining security and reliability guarantees inherent to blockchain technology. So, yeah, basically it augments the smart contract and gets it information is what it does. So it's definitely valuable. But, whether it's worth $7 trillion or $1 billion or whatever, transaction value embedded in trillions. Huh. Oh, interesting. So it keeps track of how much money it's facilitating. That's interesting. Whether it's worth that much, who the hell knows, to be quite honest with you. And I don't even know if you can run a node or not. Probably. Like that's about all I know about it. About Chainlink. And it's used very widely. It really is. It's not a garbage crypto. Like Aave used it for a long time. Synthetics, Compound, all these. I mean, it's good. But undervalued, I don't know about that. DOT, yeah, DOT for you real quick here, bud. So actually, we have an alert level on DOT. of whatever it is. There it is, 6,537. One thing I do like about DOT, Ted, is that it really hasn't. It's had its move up here, and it's been consolidating that move. So I think it may be in a situation where people are kind of forgetting about it. I don't know if I'd call it a leader. What was its percentage up? 42%. So yeah, I'm not sure if it's leading in this market. It's definitely a follower, I think, more than a leader. But we should get another reaction upwards in the markets, and I think DOT will benefit from that. So I don't think there's any major need to run away from it necessarily. You will get a gain. You'll just have to realize that gain at the appropriate time, I think. But Bitcoin's our leader, and it's not wanting to stop right now. Once we broke out of that, it's looking like it wants to keep going. So pullbacks definitely should be bought, I think, especially the bigger pullbacks. But if you're buying pullbacks in a bull trend, that's what you want to do. So if you want to buy a classical breakout, that would be DOT situation. As you can see, going back to Bitcoin, I had this alert here at 21,246. That was based off of this information. Once this information came to play, we talked about that was pretty much not a good alert level anymore, and there really wasn't a great one. But I could have put one here at 21,646, and that probably would have been a good one. So it's hard to keep tabs with these sometimes, but the general sentiment remains. Hold the lows, higher lows, higher highs, all the way around. ETH BTC? Yeah, why not? ETH BTC. Oh yeah, ETH BTC. I was thinking Ethereum Classic for some horrible reason. Let me timestamp this. 146, huh? 146.20. An hour and 46 minutes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that shows you Bitcoin's leading. Absolutely. Below the last breakout. Yeah, it's below a few things at this point. Where's the last breakout? I don't even see it here. Where is it? Oh, this one? Yeah, I think that one. That's that what you're talking about? Right there. Bam. Yeah, didn't get very far. Is it? I'm assuming that's the trend line you're talking about, Mike. Yeah, remember ChatGPT. TradingView deleted all my trend lines, so I don't have a lot of stuff, which sometimes can be good. I'm not too mad at it. It does get annoying from time to time, but not too bad. So, yeah. See, again, this just goes to show you that Bitcoin's leading this rally, and you missed it, Mike. We did it earlier. We went back to 2019 and overlaid Ethereum on Bitcoin. I'll do it again real quick because I'm having fun. And we overlaid a number of charts actually on top of it. And what we found is Bitcoin led. ETH USD. Where's it? Oh, indices. There we go. Coinbase. So right there. So that's basically the high. Getting pretty close there. So Bitcoin led the whole way up. Yeah. ETH BTC at the time. Yeah, I like to do it like this, at least just for me, I guess. Yeah, I could have done it on ETH BTC. I didn't think about that. BTC World. Yes, sir. Good job. And your position for it too, which is even more important. Yeah, you're getting good at listening to that voice, Mike. I mean, definitely are. Yeah, it's been a good rally. I think it'll continue. I think it'll keep going. But here's an example of sometimes when Bitcoin's going, and I thought it was more frequent than just those 3 times that we've had BTC only rallies. I thought that was really interesting that we found that it was only that. Yeah, I don't know. But good rally right now. Volume is staying strong. Yeah, like I said, pullback should be bought. I think it's a good market environment. It's going to go up, and I said this last week, I think, or maybe it was the week before. I think it's going to go up faster than people are expecting or prepared to do, and it'll catch them by surprise. And then by the time they jump in, that's when we get that. That's when the big topping candle, and that's when we will exit positions and take profits and walk away, and then watch the carnage as people can't believe what's happening, and it's a little bit sad, but I don't know. We're not pulling any triggers over here. Yeah, Mike, dude, you're doing great, man. it's great to see the evolution. Everyone's got their own little trading evolutionary tract, and yeah, it's really good. Hey, dude, that is so tough. You know how many times I've made the same mistake? A lot more than twice. My problem is I'm an overthinker, and that's my problem. I got a few trading issues. I'm excellent with charts and analysis and coaching, but when it comes to like actually pulling triggers, I'm I get better with age because I slow down a little bit. I'm too skittish on pulling triggers sometimes, too often. Sometimes I do it too often. Um, yeah, that's a better way to put it. I pull too many triggers. I try to do too much. And I think about it while I'm telling you guys this. I'm like, man, I just do way too much. I'm like, you guys, just buy and be patient. Set your stop loss. Raise your stop losses. Like, I actually have stop losses on this time. They should be raised, actually. I haven't raised them yet, but I should be raising my stop losses. I just never listen to myself. It's weird. Don't know how to describe. That's why I don't show people my trades. If I was on point, I definitely would, because it'd benefit people and it'd be something to learn from. But yeah, is what it is. But the alerts are generally really good, and I feel good about the work I do. Yeah, I feel good about it. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. It's pointless. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for showing up, Mike. Thanks for showing up, Ted. Everybody else, thanks for being here. Loopy, it's fun as always. Thanks for participation. Brian, all you guys are great. Just make wise decisions. Yeah, make wise choices. And when you see topping, like true topping candles, believe it. Shout it out in Slack, and we can mull it over if it is or is not Slack or topping. And we'll go from there. All right, guys, have a great day. See you next time. Join the Power